Hello and welcome to Beard Boys Gaming. I'm Adam. Today I've got something a bit different for you. It's probably something that's crossed every football fan's mind at least once, and the question has been asked millions of times, and today I'm going to answer the question. Where would Celtic and Rangers be if they were in the English League system? As you can see, I've started them off in League 2, and the question is, could they reach the promised land of the Premiership, and if they could, how quick would they get there? Could we potentially see a Scottish team lift their FA Cup? And who will be the better team, Rangers or Celtic? Before we get into it, drop us a comment on who you think will do better and how far you think the teams can go. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. As you can see, here's the full Celtic team with no changes, just Celtic in League 2. And here's the full Rangers team, again, no changes. I think it'd be interesting to see if any of the big names stay and help the teams gain promotion, or will they be sold on to help raise funds to push for promotion. I think the likes of Morelos and Edward could be expected to bag a few goals if they stick around. I think we could also expect to see Jermaine Defoe score a few goals on his return to England, but let's see. I'm going to sim till about halfway through the season to see how these Scottish giants are getting on, so I'll see you there. Well, we're back just after the halfway point of the season, and it's pretty much as you'd expect. Both Celtic and Rangers are running away with the league. Both teams are yet to lose, which is pretty impressive. Rangers are just in front with a 2-point gap on their rivals. Even in this early stage, it's pretty safe to say both teams are expected to be promoted. Celtic are a massive 30 points clear of Port Vale in 4th. Let's have a look at how the teams are getting on in the cups. Rangers going out in the first round to Coventry, drawing 0-0 and then losing 5-4 on penalties. That will be going. Celtic beat Sunderland 3-0 away from home in the second round. They then went on to beat Lincoln in the third round 2-0 at home. They then beat Spurs 1-0 in the fourth round to get to the quarterfinals, which is pretty impressive. So they're already showing they can handle themselves against the big boys of England. They seem to have come unstuck against Bournemouth, losing 2-0 at home. That must have been a long day for the travelling Bournemouth fans. Let's have a quick look at how the teams got on in their first Old Firm derby in the English League. A 1-1 draw at Celtic, so there's not really a lot to separate the teams. Let's see how they do for the rest of the season. We're now at the end of the season and it's so close, but who do you think came out on top, taking the bragging rights for the first season in the English game? Well, let's see how they got on in the FA Cup first. Both teams only made it as far as the 4th round, with Celtic bowing out to Leeds 3-1. And it was a similar story at Rangers with them losing 3-1 to Newcastle. So neither team really performing well so far in the FA Cup. So let's see who won the League 2 title. Drum roll please. By a difference of 1 goal, yep that's it, 1 goal, Rangers are the champions. With both teams amassing a huge points tally of 129, both only losing 1 game all season. Rangers' superior goal tally carried them to the first silverware in England. Let's have a look who scored their goals. As I predicted earlier, Celtic's leading goal scorer was Odsonne Edouard with an impressive 37 goals for the season, with Ryan Christie also chipping in with 27. So what else has been going on? Scott Brown, the Celtic captain, only played 4 games throughout the season and scored 3 goals in those 4 games. Maybe he should have been up front. Let's have a look at Rangers. Wow, Florent Cambery has scored a massive 43 goals in 45 games, and Jermaine Defoe's chipped in with a fair few, 22. Which isn't bad considering he's 37 years old, but you wouldn't expect anything less really. Well, with both teams being promoted, let's move into their second season in the English game. So we're just at the start of the second season. I'm expecting pretty much a similar story to the last season, with both teams pulling away from the pack even before the halfway stage. So I'm going to sim till about halfway through again and see how they're getting on. So we're just past the halfway stage again, with Celtic having pulled slightly away from Rangers and are yet to lose. Rangers on the other hand seem to be finding this division a bit more difficult. Still doing pretty well though, and they've only lost 1 game but drawing 4. This season Celtic are outscoring and have a better defence than their rivals. Let's have a look how they're getting on in the cups. Both teams have made their way into the 3rd round of the FA Cup, with Rangers drawing a very difficult tie at Man City and Celtic drawing a slightly easier game against Blackburn away. In the Carabao Cup, Rangers were knocked out by Newcastle again 2-1 at home in round 3. So Celtic beat Shrewsbury 3-0 at home, making their way into round 4, where again they came up against Bournemouth and again lost 2-0 at Celtic. Those Bournemouth fans are really getting their miles in. I'm going to sim till the end of the season now, so I'll see you there. So it's the end of the season, and Celtic have held on to their lead to take the League 1 title home. It's not so close this year, with Celtic being 13 points clear of Rangers. Rangers did only lose once all season though, which isn't too bad to be fair. but they're only 9 points clear of QPR in third, so they are starting to slow down a bit now. Although there were 3 other teams passing the 100 points mark, so it does seem like it was a tough season. So let's see how they did in the Cups. In the FA Cup third round, Celtic drew 1-1 away to Blackburn, forcing a replay at Celtic, which they won 3-1. Rangers went out to Man City in the third round, losing 2-1, which isn't too bad. Celtic then came up against Huddersfield in round 4, beating them 2-1 to send them into the 5th round. In round 5, however, they lost 2-1 to Arsenal. Again, not a terrible result. Both teams went out to 2 of the better Premier League sides, only losing by a narrow margin. So hopefully next season they can avoid the big teams and have a good cup run. So let's start the third season with both teams in the Championship. I think this is where they might start to struggle a bit more, picking up a few more losses and draws. I still do fancy both teams to be pushing for promotion though. Before we start this season, let's have a quick catch up on the teams. Celtic seem to have kept hold of their big goal scorers from the first season, with Edouard and Christie still at the club. Doesn't look like many players have left. Now let's look at Rangers. Well, maybe this is why they didn't score so many goals last year. Both their leading goal scorers from the first season aren't there anymore, with Defoe retiring and Kamberi returning to Hibs. Where will the goals come from now? Let's jump halfway through the season again and see how the teams are doing. Well, I've simmed to just after Christmas and something a bit strange is going on. The teams only seem to have played 13 or 14 games so far. I really don't know what's going on. I'll see if they're still playing in the Cups. Well, both teams are still in the third round of the FA Cup, drawing against each other, which could make for an interesting game the first time the two teams have met in an English Cup. Let's have a look at the Carabao Cup. Well, they've played the first round and Rangers going through to the second round, beating Doncaster 3-1 away, with Celtic being dumped out on penalties to Leeds after playing out a 1-1 draw. We will just see who wins the first Old Firm derby in the FA Cup. Then we will jump to the end of the season and hopefully they will have played all the games. While Celtic with a comfortable 3-0 win at Rangers should put them in good stead for the rest of the cup, and fingers crossed we could see them having a good cup run. I'll see you at the end of the season. Oh dear. Coronavirus must have hit FIFA as well now, because it seems like none of the teams have played since we last saw them. None of the other leagues seem to be affected though. League 1 have played all their games, and the Premier League are just one game off the end of the season. I'll move to the very last day and see if anything changes. Well, I've moved to the very last day of the season and it's official, I have broke FIFA. I've only simmed 1 month on and some of the teams have played over 45 games in 30 days. They must be knackered. Is this what's going to happen in real life? How many times did the teams play each other? This is so strange. Well, Celtic just missed out on automatic promotion coming third, with Rangers just outside the playoffs, missing them by a few points. Who knows how the table could have ended up if they played the normal amount of games. Let's see if the cups run normally. Well, after beating Rangers in the third round, Celtic went on to beat Derby in the fourth round with a 1-0 victory away. They then went on to lose 2-1 away to Aston Villa. So this year there's no silverware heading to Scotland unless Celtic can win the playoffs. I'll jump to the start of the next season and hopefully things will return to normal. Well, it looks like Celtic didn't go up and they are still in the Championship. And Rangers are still there too, so hopefully everything has sorted itself out. I'll jump to the halfway stage again. I'm predicting Celtic will be somewhere near the top again come the end of the season, and Rangers again pushing for the playoffs. Well, everything appears to be back to normal, having just passed the halfway stage, and the teams have all played 27 games. But this season, Rangers are the one pushing the top teams, with Celtic trailing 6 points behind their rivals. Let's check out the cups. In the first round of the Carabao Cup, Rangers beat Barnsley 3-1 to progress to the next round, with Celtic also progressing by beating Blackpool 2-1. In round 2, Rangers then beat Newport 2-0 at home to get into the third round, and Celtic also beat Huddersfield 3-0 at home to join Rangers in the third round. In round 3, Rangers then beat Charlton 2-1 to make it into round 4. Celtic's cup run was over after a heavy 3-0 defeat to West Ham in the English capital. Round 4 didn't end particularly well for Rangers, with a bit of a thrashing away to Southampton. They must be getting sick of drawing South Coast teams in the Cup, it never goes well for them. Let's have a look at the FA Cup. In the FA Cup, Rangers have drawn against Charlton, with Celtic travelling to Stoke. Let's catch up with the teams at the end of the season. I've broke FIFA again. Well, none of the teams have played in the league since we last saw them, with all the teams being stuck on 27 games. What is going on? I'll try something to the end of the season again, and hopefully this time they won't have played a ridiculous amount of games. Oh, for God's sake. This time they've played even more games. In just over a month they played 46 games. They've played a season in just under 2 months. Has this ever happened to anyone else? Let me know in the comments. Well, all the extra games really seem to have taken effect on Rangers, with them slipping down into 9th in the league. Celtic, on the other hand, must love playing the extra games after a good run has put them in 4th, after amassing a huge 152 points. But I don't think there's any catching West Ham after they became the first team to ever beat the 200 points mark in a single season. Ridiculous. Let's have a look at how the cups are doing. Well, this weird bug only seems to be affecting the leagues and doesn't seem to be affecting the cups much. But I think the amount of games the Scottish Giants are playing, it's affecting them in the cups, with neither team making it past the third round, with Charlton beating Rangers 2-1 at the Valley on a replay after a 1-1 draw at the Ibrox, and Celtic losing 2-0 away to Stoke. Well, I'm going to leave it there before my Xbox starts smoking or something. If you like this video, smash that like button, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. Until next time, bye!
Shut up and sit down.